Hey, I thought that before I go ahead and make any other videos or edit any other ones, I may as well make one where I kind of introduce myself in a little bit more detail. I think it would probably just be good for me to talk about why I chose the fields that I chose for building my brand. So something about me, from a very young age, I feel like I've had a pretty eclectic sense of style. Um, and it's something that was always commented on by my peers and my family and everything. I am just a little experimental. But in addition to that, one of the things that really led to me becoming as experimental as I was is I grew up pretty poor. There were definitely times where I had to sleep in the car, and times I went to bed without food. I actually have a little bit of stunted growth because of lack of nutrition at one point. And that heavily influenced both ventures that I'm building my brand on, both the style and the travel. The style because, with limited clothing and, getting most of my clothing through hand-me-downs from people who knew my mom, who knew my family, I had to kind of get creative with the way that I was pairing things. And I ended up trying on a lot of different clothing over time. I grew up with two younger brothers and my mom. So, given the situation and the fact that my mom was like a young parent and everything, I often had to be a little bit more grown up than most kids. And I came to understand that people judge you based off of how you present. So that heavily affected me in understanding that all these hand-me-downs, I had to kind of make them look good, and I had to be willing to try different things. And that kind of just grew over time. Like, even when I was in a better financial situation and living situation, I just kind of developed an interest in style. In middle school, I had a huge life shift where I went from being in what's called the IB program. If you're not familiar with it, it's International Baccalaureate. It's a program for just the gifted students. And a lot of the time, it's a lot of work for kids, and they start you off pretty early. I started in 6th grade, and even before that, I was taking like gifted classes and all of those things. But when I was in that program, of the 6 courses I was taking in my 6th grade year, I was struggling with one, and they gave me like a semester to pull up my grades, and I just couldn't in that one course because it was a lot of work. And when you're constantly trying to, worry about, hey, do I have all the things that I need? Do my brothers have all the things that I need? It's a lot to ask of a kid. So I ended up, it's a complicated situation, but I basically ended up getting kicked out of that program, sent to the general program of like education, excelled pretty well there, but with the promise that the next year I would get back into the program, which was not fulfilled and caused my mom to transfer me schools. At that point, within that year, we had kind of moved up financially. We were lucky in that way. Got a place that was in a more affluent part of town, even though we weren't like rolling in money or anything by any means. And there was a school in that area. That school was heavily dominated by southern, like wealthier Caucasian children. And up to that point, I had either been in schools that were pretty well, it was a pretty diverse group, or heavily people of color. So I was kind of at a huge disadvantage. I was often aware of like the eyes on me, often aware of the impressions they had of me, and the really racist undertones of being in that environment, and no one really caring to like stop and think about you as a human being. And I will say, it definitely affected me in a lot of ways, but I think long term it was good for me just because it allowed me an opportunity to kind of interact with different people, and as far as my brand goes, different style. Now, I personally have always been a fan of streetwear and whatnot, but something I noticed while being in that school and then transferring into the high school in that area was their sense of style. Upon first encountering it, I hated it. honestly. I was just really confused. But I came to appreciate certain aspects of it. Like, up until that point, I don't think I had ever really seen anyone dress in pastels, which really opened my eyes. And they all wore like Sperry's and Chubby's and polo shirts all the time, which literally everybody looked the same. It was ridiculous. But one thing I took from that, other than the pastels, is like incorporating shorts a little bit more, incorporating like different lengths into my sense of fashion. Especially because like all the stores in that area really only carried clothing for that demographic. So again, I utilized my access to hand-me-downs, and I utilized access to that type of clothing to kind of mix things together. And that's kind of what I want to do with my brand, KC Xzursion, because I think it's really cool to diversify and mix and mingle things. Thus far, I haven't really had too much opportunity to find manufacturers for the sense of style that I have in mind, but I really want it to be something of like an elevated streetwear meets several different fashion senses, and I want it to also like influence the art that I use to design the clothing, design all of the travel merchandising, so on and so forth. As far as the travel aspect though, that came from my really deep-rooted desire of escapism and a very strong sense of adventure. I have always, like even since I was a little kid, wanted to just know what it's like being in another life. And as negative as that might sound, there were a lot of things I appreciated about my life. I am Haitian, Haitian-Cuban actually, amongst several other things, but those are the main ones that I grew up around. And because of that, and the fact that I was constantly dealing with like American culture, I developed an interest in just exploring other cultures, respectfully, of course. So I did a lot of research on travel. I did a lot of research on different cultures. Really got into mythology there for a while. Still really into it. But I'm pretty sure that was where my desire to travel came from. That's the reason I am a travel advisor. Kai Colson Travels. The way that everything came about may have been born of not great circumstances, but I do really want to have those core feelings, those genuine roots of where I came from be integrated into the brand that I'm trying to build. And hopefully that vision will resonate with people. So that's basically all this video is, just an opportunity for me to give some context for what I'm trying to build as I have you come along on this journey with me. If you are interested in seeing where things go, you can always support me by subscribing to this channel, like, comment, share, hit the bell. I will be releasing a video relatively soon about some tips and tricks that I've learned as a travel advisor, as well as just a little bit of industry secrets and whatnot. And if you look below in the description, I will also, either in the description or as a pinned comment, I will also include a PDF of a packing list, as well as a luxury Mexico itinerary if you're interested. And you can also support me by going to my Shopify, KC Xzursion, and if you need travel advice, feel free to reach out to me. I will go ahead and put the link for my travel advisor page in the description as well. Have a great day, guys.